So this is kind of going to be a long story, but I'm going to Wichita, so I got plenty of time to tell stories. Anyway, this week, is it Monday? Yeah, was the end of a long and painful battle that I've been having with my company. And as is usual, you know, the employee never wins, but whatever, the battle's over, and I guess that's kind of a small victory. Anyway, let's start at the beginning, a very good place to start. So I got hired on to this truck company, my first driving job. I, got on the road. First time that I had to stop and fill up, I called my manager at the time and said, hey, what do I do? I don't have a fuel card. And he told me, oh, it'd be really, if you could just use one of your credit cards, like that'd be awesome. And we'll pay you back, and it'll save, a whole bunch of time and sending money here and there. And I'm like, okay, enough said. Like, I'll use my card, you pay me back. Like, I'll use my card, take a picture of the receipt, send it to you, you pay me back. Deal. And I had been warned by other employees by the guy that trained me, that this would probably happen and that they would pay me back and it'd be great. Like, this is just kind of how it worked. At the beginning, you gotta use your card, use your own credit card to buy fuel, take pictures of the receipts, send it in, they'll pay you back, and then in a couple weeks I'll get my fuel card and be good to go. So, I wasn't worried about it. A week or two into the job, taking pictures of receipts, sending them in, we're talking, at least $100 a day in fuel, usually more. So, a pretty good chunk of change, but I had money saved up and was putting it on my credit cards, and, not really any problem. But, a couple weeks in, I started asking my manager, hey, when am I going to are you guys going to pay me back? Oh, yeah. And then, what about that fuel card? Oh, we sent it to you. It should be there, tomorrow. Okay. A week or two later, now, people calling to check in, your regional manager, this and that. Hey, how you doing? How's the new job? Like, it's good, but, when am I going to get paid back for this fuel? And where's my fuel card? Oh, shoot, you don't have your fuel card yet? Like, we'll send that to you right away. Okay, cool. Now we're a month in, and now I'm kind of like, wait, why don't I have a fuel card yet? So now I'm actually asking, the regional manager, my manager, hey, where's my fuel card? And of course, oh shoot, we sent that to you. I don't, didn't show up yet? Like, no, it did not show up. And, okay, well, we'll send another one out. Okay. I was like, what about paying me back? Oh shoot, yeah, we'll get right on that. Okay. Now, at this point, dead deer. At this point, I'm starting to get a little leery, I guess, because of all the times I've heard, yes, we're going to get right on that, and the getting right on that never happened. So I started keeping track of, my receipts myself. I started, basically, being my own accountant, like writing down all my, my receipts, keeping track of how much they owe me. At this point, it's well over $1,000. And by the end of the day, I guess, when I finally got my fuel card, I believe it was my third month. So, absolutely unacceptable. And they had paid me back, I think, 1 or 2 payments, but they still owed me, I think, over $4,000 in fuel. And yeah, because I started in January, and they didn't send me my fuel card until March. I'd spent, I believe, the grand total that I spent on fuel was over $5,000, and they had only paid me back $1,000 or so of it. And so I got my fuel card, awesome. Paid off my credit cards with my savings, not so awesome. And I guess that's when I started kind of getting, I wasn't frustrated yet, but it started to become a weekly thing where at the end of every week, I would send a text message to somebody, be it my manager, regional manager, whoever's number I could get a hold of. The payroll lady, HR, I was calling and texting anybody who I had the numbers of in my company. Hell, I was even texting and talking to managers from other regions of the country and asking, hey, is there any way you could put in a word for me and get me my money back? And pretty ridiculous at this point, if you ask me. I remember one Saturday, I spent an hour or two at least talking to the guy who was in charge of that, going back and forth, sending making files with all my hundreds of receipts, taking pictures of all of them, sending them in, CCing people. And at the end of the day, I got a Zelle payment for 1 fucking fuel receipt. And it just, every week, I'd be asking, hey, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Eventually, I got a new manager, the current manager I have now. Now, he did better. I got a few payments back. Once again, though, I had to go through, take pictures of hundreds of receipts, make a file, attach him as to being able to edit the file, sent him the records of all the payments I had received. We're talking several hours of me trying to do technology stuff, which is not my forte. Now, at the end, I believe there were 3, at one point in time, I even talked to the CEO of the whole company. We're talking a national, well, maybe not nationwide, but definitely interstate transportation company. Literally texted the CEO, and he was like, oh my gosh, that's unacceptable, I'll get right on that. And now I'm on the 3rd different person I've had to deal with as far as payroll goes. I'm on my 2nd manager, and every time I get a new one in, I've got to take pictures of every single fucking receipt, send them to the person, send them copies or records of every single payment I received, and then I'll send them basically my bookkeeping that I've been doing personally, and showing it, saying, hey, here's my math, here's all my fuel receipts on one side, my payments received on the other side, add them all together, subtract the 2 columns, here's what you guys owe me. And finally, last week, I texted the CEO yet again. I said, sir, sorry to bother you, but you told me this was getting taken care of a couple months ago, and it's still not taken care of. He called me, which, good move on his part, because, not that I worship at the altar of capitalism, fuck corporations, but, you know, he's obviously a busy man running a multi-state truck transportation company, like they're, and to call like a peon, I'm like, okay, like, cool, because he got me on the phone with the regional manager, him and me, and said, we're going to get this taken care of by Friday. And it was Thursday. Like, it's going to be done. Okay. Now, here's the problem. The person who is now in charge of reimbursements for fuel said, no, we paid him everything that we owe him. And I was like, the fuck? My math shows that you guys still owe me $1,267. And the CEO, once again, literally said, okay, send me your calculations. I sent him my calculations. Now, granted, this is me with a pencil and paper. This plus this plus this plus this minus this equals $1,267. And he said, okay, now had the reimbursement lady send over her calculations. And she did it a different way, where it was like, this payment covered these receipts, this payment covered these receipts. It was like some new math sort of way. You know, accountants and their fucking tricks. I don't know. It was very like Common Core math to me. Like, all right, whatever though. Like, it's still plus and minus. It should add up. But hers added up to, the balance was 0. And so we were at an impasse. I said, by my math, you owe me $1,267, and my math added up. Her math said, we don't owe you shit, and her math apparently added up. So they offered me a deal. Said, we will give you $800. We don't think we owe you anything, so this is just an $800 gift. And I said, well, I think you owe me $1,267, so you're shorting me $467. Hey, that's math. And they said, yeah, but we don't believe you, basically. Like, you're giving us pencil and paper calculations, whereas over here is this Excel spreadsheet showing that we don't owe you shit. And we're talking almost 2 years of, you know, back and forth on this. This is a daily stressor in my life. And I know that the only way I'm winning this battle all the way is if I take them to small claims court, in which case I'm 100% getting fired, you know, just as retaliation. I'm sure they could think of some reason to fire me. And I'm like, all right, I like the job. I make good money. Is this worth, you know, $400, getting fired, having to look for new employment, versus this being out of my life? Like, I don't have to have this hanging over my head anymore. So I took the deal. I signed, you know, the paper saying I'd accept the $800 and basically stop bothering them about, like, say we're elsewhere. And they sent it to me, and I signed the paper, and it's done. But it's just yet another example of, I don't know, like, proof of how powerless I really am in the grand scheme of life. That, you know, being a peon, a peasant, working class guy in this modern world is just, it's kind of a shit life. And yeah, it's just, I'm very glad that this is done. Like, there's literally nothing I can do about it anymore. I signed the papers saying I would cease and desist, basically, and I got some of what I wanted, but it just, once again, the whole thing just, from start to finish, leaves me with a bitter taste in my mouth, because it's like they fucked me over at the beginning. I actually wanted more than the exact amount of the fuel receipts, because I was like, I paid you guys in 2020, early 2024 money. You're paying me back in late 2025 money. And given the hyperinflation of the economy, the money that I paid for fuel is worth a lot more than the money that you're paying back to me for fuel. Which is stupid that we live in an economy like this. Thanks, fucking Trump. But, or I guess, and Obama and Biden. Thanks, government, for fucking over the working class once again. But, like, it's just another reason like, jeez, lost my train of thought. Okay, I don't know, but let's just say it's over. I'm happy about that, but the getting fucked part of it, I'm so sick of that. Like, I'm just so sick of it. And I get it. I'm unskilled labor. I'm a peasant. Like, fine. But I hate being reminded of that on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I think that's it. Like, I get it. I'm really low on the totem pole of life, but I don't want to be reminded of it. So can we please not? Like, this was just a constant reminder for 2 straight years of how low in the status hierarchy I am. And it's good that it's over, but like I said, the battle's over, but I didn't win. But it's over, and whatever. Just the fact that there's closure, I guess, getting that stressor off of my mind, I think is worth it. Especially considering the alternative of having to look for new employment and probably not getting the money back anyway. So, because I'm sure the court system would fuck me over too. So, it is what it is. You know, peasants get fucked. It's been that way since the beginning of time. And, you know, until the revolution happens, it's going to continue to be that way. But, you know, I'm ready for the uprising.